Good evening everyone. Myself Dr. Chintan S. Jain. I am working as a rehabilitation physiotherapist at UN Mehta Institute of Cardiology and Research Center since last 14 years. So in the series of continuous physiotherapy education, today my topic is exercise to improve posture. So today in my topic the contents are introduction of posture, then definition of posture, types of posture, postural mechanism, pattern of posture, development of good posture, causes of poor posture, then techniques of postural correction, and last one exercise for postural correction, which all are exercise for to improve postural corrections. So let's start with the introduction. The postural alignment starts its development from early period of life with development of the spine and its curvature. At first at birth the spine has C-shaped curve with one side convexity and the another side concavity. So let's understood with this when the fetus or child in the mother's womb whole body is in flexed position, the upper limb as well as lower limb and spine also. So when the spine is C-shaped curve, outer side is the convexity and the inner side is the concavity. Then as the child is trying to raise his head from prone lying position, cervical curve starts to develop, and in the early phase of education of walking, another curves are considered as secondary curve to the first one, which is called primary curve. So when the fetus is in the womb, the spinal curve is called primary curve, and then after the birth it develops secondary curve. Let's understand with this curvature of the spine. This is frontal view. This is first 7 cervical vertebra, then 12 thoracic vertebra, then 5 lumbar vertebra, then sacrum and then coccyx. So we can better understand with this lateral view, sagittal view in the lateral column, cervical vertebra, thoracic, lumbar, then sacral and coccyx. This is the ideal or correct curvature of the spine. Let's start with the definition. Posture is the attitude assumed by the body either with support during muscular inactivity or by means of coordinated action of many muscles working to maintain stability or form an essential basis which is being adapted constantly to the movement. So in this when the posture is correct in the inactivity muscular, and when we are dynamic means moving our body from one position to another, this is also called posture. Ligaments, fascia, bones, joints, inner structures that supports the body. Muscles and their tendinous attachments are the dynamic structures that maintain the body in a posture or move it from one posture to another posture. Then types of posture, inactive posture, then active posture. First inactive posture, muscular inactivity reduced to a minimum, for example resting and sleeping. Then active posture, maintained by integrated action of many muscles. It has two types, one static and another is dynamic posture. This one image is the inactive posture. The lady is sleeping phase or resting position, make minimal demands upon the muscles responsible for the maintenance of essential body functions. So this lady is resting, jaw is unclenched, eyes are closed, arms rest away from the body, shoulder blades tucked under, legs spread comfortably apart, feet fall open, then palms are open and relaxed. So next is active posture, that again divided into static and dynamic posture. First, static posture, pattern of posture is constant. Body and its segments are aligned and maintained in certain positions. So in these the position are fixed, or pattern of posture is also constant. For example, standing, kneeling and sitting. And the next one is dynamic posture. Pattern of posture is constantly modified. Body and its segments are moving. They form an efficient base for movement. For example, walking, jumping, throwing and lifting. So in this pattern of posture is moving from one posture to another posture. So this is called dynamic posture. This one image is of active posture. First image is static posture, that lady is doing a yoga. So this is certain fixed positions. And second image is dynamic posture, that lady is jumping. So our body is moving from one position to another positions. Next, discuss with postural mechanisms. What are the mechanisms to maintain our posture? Muscles and nervous control. So first discuss with muscles. Muscle requirement depends on static or dynamic posture. Mostly some specific group of muscles are working to maintain erect position. They are working to counteract the effects of gravity. They are known as anti-gravity muscles, usually extensor group of muscles. This is the image of postural muscles, which are anti-gravity postural muscles. You can see in this image the calf muscles, then hamstrings, gluteus maximus and paraspinal muscles. These all are anti-gravity postural muscles and to maintain our erect posture. The characteristics of anti-gravity muscle. They are type 1 muscle fibers. They are multipinnate and fan shaped, signifies powerful action. Red color due to rich blood supply. Myoglobin content is very high. Contraction in response to stimulation is very slow but can be sustained for a considerable time without fatigue. These muscles, are rate of fatigue is very slow. Next mechanism is nervous control. Postural reflexes are the major component to maintain any kind of posture. Postures are maintained or adapted as a result of neuromuscular coordination, the appropriate muscles being innervated by means of very complex reflex mechanism. Postural reflexes. Reflex is defined by efferent response to afferent stimuli. So, what are the mechanism continue for the postural reflexes? First afferent stimuli, then response goes to the higher center, then response goes to the efferent response. The efferent response is a motor one, the anti-gravity muscles being the principal effector organs. Afferent stimuli arise from the variety of source all over the body, the most important being situated in the muscles themselves, the eyes and ears. So these postural reflexes we can understand later with the images. This is the balance sensors, eyes for vision, joints for the proprioception, brain for the higher center, inner ear. Vestibular system is situated in the inner ear, then anti-gravity muscles, and the sensory touch is the sense of touch at the feet level. Receptor organs. Muscles, neuromuscular and neurotendinous spindles within muscles recording changing action. Increased tension causes stimulation and reflex contraction of muscle, that is the stretch reflex. Eyes, visual sensation record any change in position as per surroundings. Joint structures, in weight bearing position, approximation of bone stimulates receptor in joint structures which elicit reflex reaction to maintain erect posture. Skin, sensation also plays a very important role, especially that soles of feet when body is in standing positions. Next, ears. Stimulation of receptors of vestibular nerves results from the movement of fluid contained in semicircular canal of internal ear. Each canal lie in different planes. Any movement of head disturb fluid they contain, and thus knowledge and direction of movement is recorded. Movement of head, then movement of ear, then movement of the semicircular canal, then stimulation of receptor in vestibular nerve, then its maintenance of balance. So vestibular system or vestibular nerve plays a very important role to maintain our balance or posture. So I am not going to in detail that, but vestibular nerve and vestibular system, it plays a very important role. So this one image is the whole understanding of the postural mechanisms. First one, front receptor organs, that is the afferent response, comes from eye, vision, ear is the vestibular system, then muscles, then joints, proprioceptions. From all their afferent response goes to the higher center, that is the cerebral cortex, cerebellum, red nucleus, vestibular nucleus. From their response goes to the effector organs, that is the muscles, and all are that anti-gravity muscles to maintain our postural mechanism or maintain our posture, erect posture. What are the organs for the central nervous system to maintain the posture? First one is cerebral cortex, then cerebellum, red nucleus, and vestibular nucleus. These all four organs to maintain our postures, which is situated in the central nervous system, our brain. The next pattern of posture. First one is good posture. Good posture is the attitude which is assumed by the body parts to maintain stability and balance with minimum effort and least strain during supportive and non-supportive positions. Second, poor posture. Poor posture is a position resulting from any deviation from ideally aligned erect posture, that is good posture. Pattern of posture, both static and dynamic, are gradually built up by integration of many reflexes which together makes up the postural reflex. Some of these component reflexes are inborn and some are conditioned, being developed as the result of constant repetition of posture maintained by voluntary control. These three images of good and poor posture. First image is the poor posture. You can see the forward head posture, flat back. The last image is also poor posture, forward head posture, sway back, rounded the shoulders, weak abdominal muscles. And the middle one image is the perfect good posture. You can see the perfect aligned neck muscles, our shoulder girdle muscles, then back and also a feet. Next is good posture. Posture is said to be good when it fulfills the purpose for which it is used with maximum efficiency and minimum effort. As the physical characteristics of no two people are identical, the precise pattern of good posture must vary with the individual. It is possible, however, to generalize to some extent. For example, in the erect posture, the alignment of specific parts of the body usually leads to perfect balance of one segment upon another, a state which is aesthetically pleasing to the eye. As dynamic posture involves constant readjustment to maintain the efficiency of posture background throughout the process of movement, they are much more difficult to assess. In many activities, however, the same alignment of various segments of the body which is satisfactory in the erect posture forms the basis from which these adjustments are made. For example, in walking or sitting and writing. So here total 6 images are there in front of you. The first 3 images are the correct sitting position first, second correct lifting of the weight from the floor, and the third one is sitting on a sofa to operate a computer. And below 3 images are very wrong positions. You can see in the lower, in the first position, the spine are flexed and forward stoop posture will develop to see computer operating. Second image is the wrong position to lifting the weight from the floor with the flexed position. So that's also can cause a back pain or shoulder girdle muscles or neck pain as well. The last one image is sitting on a sofa. There is also same problem, flexed spine and forward stoop posture with the neck and operating a computer. The next, development of good posture. Efficient posture develops quite naturally provided the essential mechanism for its maintenance and adjustment are intact and healthy. The chief factors which predispose to the health and development of the muscles and the posture reflex are: first one, a stable psychological background. It is very important to development of good posture. If a person is joy and happy, the posture in which position of extension, and we can understand by previous slides the extension is very important to maintain erect posture. So if a person is joy or happy, they maintain the extension position or erect posture. If person is sad or unhappy, in which the position of the flexion, they are flexed the spine and they are not aware of their body or they are not aware of their posture. Second one is good hygienic condition. Third, opportunity for plenty of natural free movement. First is a stable psychological background. Emotion and mental attitude have a profound effect upon the nervous system as a whole and is reflected in the posture of the individual. So, emotional and mental status are very important, or psychological background are very important to maintain the good posture. If I told earlier previous slide, in the if patient is joy or happy, they maintain or they are aware of their body or posture, so maintain erect posture. But if a person is depression or sad or unhappy, they are not aware of their body or posture, so they are maintain or not flexion posture spinal. Second one is good hygienic conditions. So in this slide, particularly with regard to the very good nutrition, proper sleep, 7 to 8 hours sleep a day are essential for healthy nervous system, and this is also important for growth and development of the bones and muscles. Third one is the opportunity for plenty of natural free movements also encourage the harmonious development of the skeletal muscles. Activities which are much enjoyed by the normal healthy or child with the play, running, jumping, climbing, in these all movements are active extension is predominant. Now then come to the poor posture. Posture is poor when it is inefficient, that is when it fails to serve the purpose for which it was designed, or if an unnecessary amount of muscles effort is used to maintain it. Poor alignment of the body segments in the erect position may lead to the necessity for additional muscle to work to maintain balance. On the other hand, efficient compensation may take place, in which case no additional muscle effort is required, but the attendant ligamentous strain or cramping of thoracic movement are disadvantages which cannot be ignored. The purpose of dynamic posture is to serve as an efficient and adaptable background to the movement. Posture patterns which do not fulfill this function impede and reduce the efficiency of the movement and therefore must be considered poor. Now come to the causes of poor posture. The causes of poor posture often very obscure, and even if they are known are difficult to remove. Poor posture may occur due to one defects in joints such as stiffness or immobilization that occurs after fracture or after such a trauma. Bones such as shortening or deformity that can be occur during congenital or maybe after fracture or some trauma. Muscles such as weakness, paralysis or contracture, vision or hearing problem. Next is bad habits, either from early childhood or from occupation position. Example for that is the individual that performs jobs which require a continuous flexed position of the trunk. It can be occur during childhood or some occupation, some software engineer, they are continuous operating a computer. So their flexed spine or forward stoop posture will develop if they are not aware or if they are not teaching correctly. Third one is pain, fatigue or bad psychological state. If there is a pain, then person or patient can't maintain the erect posture, or fatigue also, it is the one of the main cause, and bad psychological state. Now come to the effects of poor posture. Poor posture causes deviation from the normally aligned posture. As a result, the body function are altered and these may lead to dysfunction and diseases. Poor posture may cause one or more of the following dysfunction. First, easy fatigability and high energy expenditure. Second, decrease both circulatory and respiratory efficiency. Third one is pain, bad cosmetic appearance and psychological disturbances. Now come to the re-education, the measure which can be taken by PT to correct physiotherapist to correct the faulty posture and to train another and more efficient postural pattern depend largely on the cause. The success of any physical treatment depends on her ability to gain the cooperation of the patient. So when there is a re-educate the patient cooperation is very important. Techniques of re-education. Good atmosphere should be established for the postural re-education. Make patient feel that acquisition of good posture is worthwhile. Efforts will be noticed and appreciated. Individual instruction, as no two patients have identical difficulties. So, when the patient comes to the therapist, both the patients have the same problem, same postural problems, but they have the different backgrounds. So, individual instructions or individual guidance will require to the different both the patients, but have much common to learn. So, group activity enables atmosphere of enjoyment and patient is stimulated by working with others. So, group activity is very important to patient will enjoy and will correct the posture by with the just playing. Another techniques is relaxation techniques, then muscle strengthening exercises, muscle stretching exercises, postural corrections, tapping techniques and myofascial release techniques. These all are techniques are also used in the improve the posture. Next is procedure to relieve pain from stress. Muscle relaxation techniques can also use external postural support such as lumbar pillow or cervical pillow we can use to relieve the pain at the lumbar area or as well as the cervical area. Education demonstrate relationship of patient posture to development of pain. So, educate the patients. If you are not maintaining the posture, then not recently, but some couple of days or some couple of months they develop the pain. So, educate the patients in this manner, then the patient will aware. Then modalities, some electrical modalities and massage also to relieve the pain from the stress. Next, procedure to increase mobility. The maintenance of normal mobility is essential to enable a wide variety of posture to be assumed. Normal mobility is maintained by general free exercises which are rhythmical in character and include full range of movement of all joints. Emphasis is laid on full extension as it is most liable to limitation. Stretching of tight specific muscle by manual, mechanical or by self stretching exercises. If there is a tight muscles, teach the patient to self stretching exercises or can be do a mechanical or manual stretching. Exercises to lengthen the muscles. Muscles that have become short and weak may restrict the normal range of motion in a joint by preventing realignment. Active stretchings that performed only by the client and passive stretching may be of more beneficial for the correction of posture. If patient is doing a self, then teach him or her to active stretching. If patient and person is not doing her or himself, and then read a passive stretching. Next, stretching recommendations. What are the stretching recommendations of the tight muscles? The frequency 2 or more days per week is effective in improving joint range of motion. Then the intensity effective when the stretch is held at a prior of tightness or slight discomfort. If you are doing a stretching, patient feels slight discomfort or some at the level of point of tightness, then only stretching will helpful. Then time, hold stretches for 10 to 30 seconds for older adults, and if they are young patient, then holding a stretch of for 30 to 60 seconds is maybe more beneficial. Type, perform series of exercises for each of the major muscle tendon units. Volume, 60 seconds total stretching time for each flexibility exercises. Then pattern, repeat each flexibility exercises 2 to 4 times. Enhancing, effectiveness is improved when the muscle is warmed up using light to moderate aerobic exercises or with the application of heat such as with heat packs or hot baths. If you are want to stretching is more beneficial or more effective, then before stretching light to moderate aerobic exercises will do, or we can do such as hot pack or hot baths we can do after the stretching will doing more effective. This is the 5 images of good or bad posture. First image is the it's a swapak. Second one is pelvic is anteriorly tilt. Then third one is you can see thoracic kyphosis, thoracic vertebra it will be kyphosed, and then fourth one is forward head stoop posture. This will occur at the continuous mobile operating or computer operating. Then last one image is the good posture. The head and shoulder girdles, back and feet all are in perfect aligned positions. Next is the postural malalignment and in which condition which muscles are need to strengthen and which muscles need to stretch. So we will see it one by one. First one is excessive cervical lordosis. In this condition, the anterior neck muscles, that is sternocleidomastoid and scaleni, needs to strengthen, and upper fibers of trapezius and levator scapulae needs to stretch. Second one is rounded shoulder. This will occur at the continuous sitting position occupation like this. They will develop a rounded shoulder. In this condition, middle and lower fibers of trapezius needs to strengthening, and shoulder horizontal adductors, pectoralis major and minor needs to stretch. So third one is excessive thoracic kyphosis. In this condition, middle and lower fibers of trapezius, iliocostalis thoracis needs to strengthen, then pectoralis major and minor, rectus abdominis needs to stretch. The next condition is flat back posture. In this, the abdominal muscles needs to strengthening and iliocostalis thoracis needs to stretch. And another is excessive lumbar lordosis. In these, abdominals, hamstrings and gluteus maximus needs to strengthen, and trunk extensors and hip flexors, erector spinae group in the lumbar region, psoas major needs to stretch. Last one is scoliosis. The convex side of the curve, all these muscles needs to strengthen, and the concave side of the curve, they needs to stretch. These muscles needs to stretch. So in this condition, we are just summarize the which muscles are weak, their muscles are need to strengthen, and which muscles are tight or shortening, that muscles are needs to stretch. And the next one is upper cross syndrome and lower cross syndrome. The upper cross syndrome, in this, the tight muscles are upper trapezius and levator scapulae, opposite side pectorals, that is pectoralis major and minor. These muscles are needs to stretch, and weak muscles are deep neck flexors and opposite side lower trapezius and serratus anterior. These muscles are needs to strengthen. And next one is lower cross syndrome, that is occur at the pelvis area. In this, the tight muscles are erector spinae, opposite side iliopsoas. These muscles needs to stretch, and weak muscles are abdominals, opposite side gluteus maximus. These muscles are needs to strengthen. This is the how self stretching of the upper trapezius. And the next, shoulder flexor stretch, we can teach the patients to self stretching. Next is hamstring and calf muscle stretching. Sitting just with both the legs straight and try to toe touch. In this, hamstring and calf muscles will be stretched, and hip flexors, this is the self stretching. In this, there is the right side, the stretching of the hip flexor muscles, that is iliacus and psoas major. This is the image of the scoliosis. First one is the normal spine, and the second image is scoliotic spine. So you can see the red one is convex side. So convex side muscles are needs to strengthen, and concave side, that is the inner side, and concave side is the shortening or tight muscles. So that muscles are needs to stretch. To train and strengthen the muscle and to develop endurance for postural muscles. Control. Stabilization exercises, progress by repetition and challenge with extremity motions, progress to dynamic neck and trunk strengthening exercises. Next is procedure to retrain kinesthetic awareness for postural corrections. Reinforcement techniques. Reinforce learning and teach to maintain correct posture during functional daily activities. Those who have habitual poor posture often feel uncomfortable and unnatural in any position other than one to which they have accustomed. A mirror or posture recorder or photographs are useful to compare with image of good posture. Video tapes can also be used. So when the patient comes to the therapist, The video tapes or image will be taken, and after that some couple of days of the treatment, 1 week or 2 week, after that again take a video or image, so we can compare with the previous one how much improved the patient. Next is postural correction. Sitting on a stool, the patient relaxes into the fully flexed slouch posture with the head and chin protruding. The patient is then smoothly moves into the erect sitting posture with the lumbar spine position in maximal lordosis and the head retracted and chin pulled in. The sequence should be repeated several times in a flowing manner. The patient is thus instructed to move into an extreme of lordosis but then release the last 10% of the movement. So this is how the patient is slouched and flexed posture and how the therapist will improve at the erect sitting or erect posture. This one is work related postural corrections. जो first image is the slouched or rounded shoulder, flexed spine, forward stoop at the cervical. These all are wrong positions. And second image is the perfect. The spinal curvature is the perfect with the back support. Head is aligned and shoulder is also in the neutral position, not the rounded. Muscular strength and posture. The basic principles of working correctly and safely to plan balanced activity that helps to maintain both muscle and strength and flexibility. Imbalance between group of antagonist muscles alters the balance of forces exerted on the specific joints and affects their position. An integral part of therapeutic exercises involves the bringing muscles to appropriate length and strength for maintaining optimal posture and function. The American College of Sports Medicine in 2011 has some evidence-based recommendation for resistance exercises when it is used as a part of fitness program for healthy adults. This guideline can be used as a starting point. So, evidence-based recommendation on stretching exercises are these. Frequency, muscles should be trained to 2 or 3 days per week. Intensity, less than 50% of the 1 repetition, maximum light to moderate intensity to improve muscular endurance. Type, for general fitness, use resistance exercises involving each major muscle group. Repetitions, 15 to 20 repetitions improve endurance. The sets are 2 or fewer sets improve muscular endurance. Pattern is rest 2 to 3 minutes between each set of repetitions. Rest 48 hours or more between sessions for a single muscle group. Progression, for general fitness, progress gradually with greater resistance or more repetitions per set or increased frequency. If this procedure is practiced 3 times daily, 10 to 15 times at each session, in a matter of few weeks, the patient will have re-educated their postural habit. This is useful in training dynamic postures in activities such as tennis, diving, lifting, where the faulty posture decreases efficiency of movement. Static postures are trained in erect position as people spend most of working hours in upright position, standing and sitting. In erect posture, position of whole is influenced by position of head, pelvic tilt and by the state of comfort and position of feet. Head and upward thrust of the vertex in the erect position may be sufficient to achieve satisfactory alignment of the whole body. Crook lying or lying with feet support, body lengthening. Half lying, sitting or standing, head stretching upwards. The pelvic tilt, voluntary control of pelvic tilt teaches patient to recognize any deviation from normal. In crook lying, trunk is in supported position of alignment and pelvis is free to move in anterior posterior direction. So this position is selected to start with. Contraction of hip extensions as to lift the hips off the floor and straight abdominal muscles tilts pelvis backwards. Reverse movement by hollowing lumbar spine. So this is the how to correct the pelvic tilt, that is anterior or posterior pelvic tilt exercises. So how this is the first image is anterior pelvic tilt and second is posterior pelvic tilt. Once the ability to adjust pelvic tilt has been learnt, it can be performed in sitting or standing. Crook lying, gluteal and abdominal contraction followed by relaxation, then hollowing of back. Low wing sitting, pelvis tilting and adjustment. Low wing standing, pelvis tilting and adjustment. The feet, painless and mobile and strong feet form the stable base of support. The arches are very important and braced and body weight adjusted so that it falls through the summit of arch by stretching of intrinsic foot muscles. Proper foot wear advice, and if limb length discrepancy due to fracture or trauma is there, then correction by shoe modification. The complete picture. If complete pattern of good posture by above mentioned protocols, it must be built up gradually and progressively. Much concentration is required at first, but effort and tension are progressively reduced by repetition and as the passage of coordinating impulses on neuromuscular pathway is facilitated. The new posture becomes habitual and no longer require voluntary efforts. It is maintained by conditional reflex. Taping. Taping is also used to improve our posture. Taping can correct posture by relieving stress on overstretched tissues and by guiding soft tissues into a new position. Elastic tape is advocated for use in postural correction because it does not limit movement entirely and is more comfortable than rigid tape. This is the images of how we can do using for tape for overstretched tissues. You can see the first image, the scapula is very loosen up, and second and third are overstretched scapular tissues to tone up. The next is myofascial release techniques. Tension in fascia restrict movement and may aggravate abnormal posture. Myofascial release is a distinct therapy that acts on fascia and may be significant in helping to correct posture by facilitating a more optimal resting position for tissues. This is how we can do myofascial release on back muscles. Then splints and braces uses for postural corrections. Postural splints are designed to address significant postural, spinal and pelvic asymmetry associated with scoliosis, kyphosis, lordosis and spinal torsion. These splints provide improved postural symmetry and stability at the trunk, pelvis and shoulder girdles, in addition to improved spinal alignment. So, splints and braces are all not only improve our stability and also improve spinal alignment. So this one is upper back ergonomic splint. So in first image you can see some kyphosis at the thoracic vertebra. So after the wearing of ergonomic splint, the kyphosis will disappear and the perfect aligned spinal alignment. This one is also a posture corrector splint. You can see the spinal level is the perfect align. So in this some exercises to improve posture. I will explain all exercises to improve posture. First one is cat and camel exercises. So this one exercises is improve your relieve tension in your back muscles and also stretches your back muscles, hips, gluteus maximus and your neck muscles and as well as shoulder girdle muscles. This exercises is forward bend exercises, simply standing and your toe touching. So your full back fascia is full stretch from thoracic to lumbar and also stretches your gluteus and hamstrings as well as calf and tendo Achilles also. This one is standing cat and cow exercises. This also improves your back postures, back muscle strengthening and your shoulder girdle muscles and hamstrings and gluteus maximus. This one is lumbar spinal rotation exercises. So this exercise is particularly focused on lumbar muscles and it will strengthen your lumbar muscles, improve your lumbar spinal mobility and your hamstrings also. This one is thoracic spine rotation exercises. This will particularly focus on thoracic spinal vertebra. So it will increase the mobility at the thoracic level, and also strengthening your thoracic spinal and as well as paraspinal muscles. This one is alternate lunge exercises. This exercises, it's very important to maintain our back and lower limb area. So in these exercises you can see your strengthen your quads, hamstrings, gluteus, calf, and your back core strengthening exercises. This one is high plank exercises. This one is pure core strengthening exercises. In these our anti-gravity muscles will be more powerful and more strengthened. You can see in these exercises your whole paraspinal muscles from thoracic or cervical to lumbar area, and glutes, hamstrings, your calf and tendo Achilles, ankle muscles, and as well as shoulder girdle muscles. This one is child's pose exercises. This exercise will relieve tension in your back muscles and also stretches your hips and glutes, and also some form of quadriceps exercises. This one is chest opener exercises. So in these exercises will where the patient tends to sitting with the rounded shoulders. So pectorals, your pectorals major and minor will be shortened at tightness. So in these exercises will stretches your pectoralis major and minor. This one is pigeon pose exercises. This will can do alternate with the left and right leg. I here demonstrate at the left side. So here the left side is stretches your hip flexor muscles, that is iliopsoas, and also right side improve your quads, glutes, and upper limb, also neck muscles also. This one is side plank. So this will improve or strengthen your lateral quadratus lumborum exercises and your upper limb and your sartorius, and this one is also improve your core strengthening exercises. This one is shoulder shrug exercises, improve your shoulder girdle muscles. This one is lower trunk rotation exercises. This will also focus on your only in lower trunk, means lower lumbar area, and improve your posture also. This one is downward facing dog exercises. These exercises will helps in stretches your back fascia, back muscles, and your glutes, hamstrings, as well as calf and tendo Achilles and upper limb also. And this one is last is glute bridge exercises. This one is exercises doing it's a type of back extensor exercises. This also relieve your tension from the lower back area. And so lastly, thank you very much for listening me, and thank you to my institute, UN Mehta Institute, to give us such opportunity to present this topic in front of you. Thank you my director sir and my HOD ma'am, and thank you everyone. Thank you very much.